Once again, we don't got to say that. We're never competing with anybody. When you in your own zone, you don't got to compete with nobody. I'm never compete with nobody. I never try to compete with nobody. For who was the best in the sport of boxing, I just went out there and did what I did.
Floyd, with a lot of upsets going on in boxing, just being on top of the game of boxing, how do you stay motivated?
Well, you have to give me an example. When you say a lot of upsets, name a lot of upsets.
Teofimo Lopez and Cambosis were a big upset.
Name some more.
Anthony Joshua and Usyk.
That was not an upset.
Oh, what?
I mean, when you got two guys with so much experience, like I said before, you got guys with two guys. It's just that Anthony Joshua was on TV, and everybody seen him. Usyk was a hell of a fighter, a gold medalist, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but he was behind the scenes. Two guys with a crazy amateur backgrounds, and one guy is not being seen, and another guy is being seen. Then we call it an upset. No, it's just that he was working behind the scenes, and another guy was working in front of everybody. Then finally, they had to meet up, and then Anthony Joshua came up short. But Anthony Joshua, I told him from the beginning. You know, I was one of the first guys to come on record. From the beginning, I told him he can come, and I can teach him some pointers. Because a lot of times, this is just my take. The same coach you had as an amateur doesn't always make him a great professional coach, because some guys are great at amateur coaching and some guys are great at professional coaching. And even like my dad, I feel like my dad was the best as a professional, because he was teaching me when I was an amateur, he was teaching me like a professional. So, you know, like I said, I'm going to always speak the real, whether somebody like it or not. I just feel like Anthony Joshua, they keep going to different coaches. Oh, this coach gonna work with him. This coach gonna work with him. I told him in the beginning when he was undefeated, you got some things you still got to tweak, because if you don't, then you may come up short.
Coach, speaking on the training situation, Teofimo Lopez just some people consider an upset. Cambosos beating him. Some people feel he might need a trainer change. His dad's been training him his entire career in his life. What do you make on speaking on the trainer subject in terms of that?
Well, you know, I wish these young guys nothing but the best. You know, these guys, you know, sometimes these guys win a title, then it means the world to them. And you can't knock them. That's some fighters' goal. And, you know, he was undisputed champion. Something that I never did. It's not like I couldn't have done it, but I didn't do it. And that was a hell of a goal in itself. So I'm not gonna sit right here and bash him or bash his dad. I wish him and his dad nothing but the best. Some people was telling me that he wanted to move up to 140. If that's the best for your fighter, then that's what you should do. But congratulations on being the undisputed, former undisputed champion. Because, like I said before, now it's something that I did, nobody else has done also. You know, I had the WBC and the WBA at welterweight, and I had the WBC and the WBA and the WBO at junior middleweight. So I'm the first fighter to hold 5 titles at one particular time. Now I don't know if nobody has done that. Now we got I think we got Canelo right now, got 4. What, 3? I don't know what the number. I think he got 4. And then he's going up to cruiserweight. He's fighting a guy that's really not, you know, the guy look up and down, but it is what it is. I mean, if it was up to me, like we keep on saying, we want to see Benavidez. Canelo, hell of a fighter. But my personal opinion, he's ducking Benavidez. You know, that's just my personal opinion, and I'm allowed to speak my mind. That's just what it is. He's going up. He's going up to cruiser, and I'm not knocking him, but he's going up to cruiserweight. And that same guy with that, he used to be at the Mayweather boxing gym. The guys really getting the best of him in the Mayweather boxing gym. So if he's going up to quote unquote cruiserweight, I mean, that's good. We got a lot. Benavidez can go and beat that same guy. He can beat that same guy at 168. So he's not doing nothing, you know, like I said before. But when you are put in a certain position, he should be I mean, he's able to like me. You know, when I was in a position, I can pick and choose who I want to, because I earned that right. But do I like this fight? Absolutely not. We want to see Benavidez. Let's make it happen.
Speaking of
Floyd,
Canelo, he's showing a lot of support for Isaac Cruz. What do you think about that? Canelo's behind Isaac Cruz.
What I don't like is this, and I was gonna talk to Tank about this. You can't be wearing Canelo gloves and he's rooting against you. You know, I don't get it. I mean, I wouldn't do it. And then it's not like, I mean, some gloves, we can wear 1,000 different gloves. The results, it's always gonna be the same, but I can't wear your gloves and you root against me.
Floyd,
Well,
1
we
week.
just recently saw Canelo win undisputed at 168. As the only person that's defeated him, what have you seen of yourself in Canelo as of the last couple of years after he fought you?
Same fighter. It's the same fighter. It's crazy that it was like Canelo in his prime. He'd have been a different fighter. When I fought him, he was in his prime. If you go back and look at me, I was the best when I was in my 20s. When I fought Canelo, I was almost 40 years old. You know, and a lot of times they're gonna keep asking me about the Canelo fight, and I already know when they write about it, it's gonna make it seem like, you know, the headline, they're gonna make it seem extremely bad, seem like a beef. I mean, it seems like it's a beef. It's not a beef. I like Canelo. I mean, I like his work. But we're forgetting about Boost Ennis.
Dranas, yes.
Hell of a fighter. We don't talk about him. You know, Errol Spence go through some ups and downs throughout life, tragedies, and he still get through it all. And then a guy go out and Terrence Crawford, he go out there and do what he's supposed to do. Of course, he looked good, but we forget about these guys. We don't talk about Tank go out there and do what he got to do, and we forget about these guys. And I'm not going to forget about my people, fighters that don't get their credit. You know, I'm just going to stand behind my people through it all.
Floyd, in talking about credit, you were talking to Mark Breland on a FaceTime recently, and it seemed that you guys were both giving each other credit. And just I want to see if you can elaborate what that.
Mark Breland?
Yes.
You know, he's a trainer that really don't say too much. One of the best amateurs ever. And two-time world champion as a professional, if I'm not mistaken. You know, I'm a real student of the game, real student, because and my dad always knew that I was gonna be a hell of a fighter because I was a student that can learn all three ways, hearing, seeing, and doing. Mark Breland, hell of a trainer, a great guy. Remember, I was just up there talking about that. Up there, when the fighters win, they get all the credit. Then, when a fighter lose, the fighter say it was the trainer fault.
Floyd,
It is what it is.
Floyd, 1 week from tonight, you're going to get named the Fighter of the Decade 2010s at the Boxing Writers Dinner in New York.
Which I really should be getting fighter of the last 2 decades, and you know that.
I'll put in the word. But what does that mean to you? I mean, obviously, you just talked about being remembered. You have been remembered as one of the greats of all time. When you take that award, what are you going to think of? What are you going to think of what you've accomplished in your career?
For the fighter of the decade, I'm the fighter of the last century, honestly. And it's a reason why I'm the best fighter of the last 100 years. The credentials show it. And I went out there and showed it. What's better than going out there, being world champion for what, 20 years? Mm-hmm. Box office, I got the record. Pay-per-view, I got the record. I ain't want it. It's better to have 5 world titles than 4 at one particular time. So, I mean, it is what it is. They're gonna always have their opinion about me. I'm always be who I am. I'm always speak from the heart, and know that when I went out there, I gave it 100%. Whether I was 100% when I went in there or not, I always gave it 100%.
Well, you just got done talking about it. A lot of these guys, including yourself, had to scratch and claw for that recognition. The fact that you finally got it at the highest level, do you take a big measure of satisfaction with that?
The best thing about my career was the bronze medal. Best thing.
Because?
Made me work hard. I know I won, but I didn't want to leave no doubt. And you see, all throughout my career, they've been trying to cut my throat. I fight Canelo, what they call it, a majority decision. Yeah. I fight Canelo. Some judge had it a draw. I fight Oscar. Somebody had it a split. Come on, man. Oh, it's not It's not good for the sport of boxing. And we talked about this. The scoring. Scoring in boxing is getting worse. I don't like it. And I went to the WBC convention because whether I want to or not, you guys may say this, but I'm still a face of boxing. And I'm going to go up, I went there to speak up for all fighters. I didn't go just to speak for black fighters. I went there to speak for all fighters and have all fighters back and say, these guys need to be treated fair.
What's your recommendation? 5 judges?
How important is it for you to stick up for fighters of all races? You seem to really frame that a lot in your conversation, that it's not just about a black or a white or a Mexican. You seem to care about boxing as a whole. Talk to us about that.
I mean, of course, because I have fighters from all walks of life. And you know what's so crazy that I laugh at every day? When sometimes they write these stories, they say, Mayweather Promotions, only fighter they got is Tank. If y'all think that, if y'all believe that, y'all can believe whatever y'all want to believe. Meaning that a fighter can't say, I'm doing business with Al Heyman, but I'm not doing business with Floyd Mayweather. Or I'm doing business with Floyd Mayweather, and I'm not doing business with Al Heyman. That PBC could be Pretty Boys champion. But we don't really want to tell y'all that. But, you know, it is what it is.
Why did you sign Gervonta Davis in the first place? What did you see in him, and how did you know back then